evening. Thank you for all of you who are online. As we will continue tonight with this Drinking Deeply Sutra interlude between intensives. And the Tuesday talk has been posted online, so I don't need to revisit it. You're all welcome to listen to it. And listen to it first time, listen to it again. But we're teaching from the Platform Sutra, the Zen teaching of Wei Nang, translation by Red Pine, American translator from the Chinese. Good translator. And last Tuesday, we looked at the first chapter, and the first chapter, of course, was Wei Nang talking with the assembled, and it was a large assembly of monks and nuns, lay people, officials of all types, talking about his life, and as we learned last week, listening to the life of a great master, and especially an unusual life of Wei Nang, is very powerful. Oftentimes the power of listening to the story of someone's life can be more inspiring than just hearing teaching. Because, the teachings disconnected from the living energy of human beings can make, seem very intelligent, wise, meaningful, but it often lacks a directness, and most importantly, a sense that these teachings are more than words. There's something to be realized, and there's something to be lived. And when we see the teachings coming alive in a human being, like the teachings did with Wei Nang, a simple woodcutter, illiterate, and now hearing these profound teachings simply about the nature of mind, the nature of reality, transformed him. And here he was, illiterate his whole life, and yet he was able to be this great patriarch of this great Chan Zen tradition. And just again, please remember, Bodhidharma came from India. He was Indian. And so he didn't come out of nowhere. He came from a long tradition within Indian Buddhism. Indian Buddhism was a highly developed, very sophisticated, philosophically, psychologically, metaphysically, many, many different schools of Buddhism. But there always was in Indian Buddhism this lineage of masters who had directly experienced the nature of mind, and who really emphasized in their teachings direct experience and awakening. So even in the midst of all this great philosophical and metaphysical and psychological, etc., great development of Indian Buddhism that really spread throughout Asia, there was always this very pure strain where the awakened mind, the Buddha mind, was being transmitted. And so we know when this Indian master Bodhidharma came, as I said last week, to China, and began to meet Chinese Buddhists, including the Emperor Wu. Again, Buddhism had been extant and very well developed in China for many, many centuries already. But it didn't have this direct pointing to the nature of mind lineage. And so that's what Bodhidharma brought. And again, but he didn't come out of nowhere again. He comes from that lineage from India. Now, again, in our community here, even though we don't practice, we're not a Zen center. Zen is not in our name, Chan is not in our name. It certainly nurtures us. We know we take great spiritual support from our ancestor Thich Nhat Hanh, who was a Zen monk. His lineage comes from China, the Lin Chi lineage. He in generations was the 42nd generation. If you look up his lineage, he's the 42nd generation from Lin Chi. Lin Chi was about the 4th or 5th generation from Wei Nang. So that connects us, right? And my first teacher, Philip Kapleau, he had a Japanese lineage that came from China, that came from Lin Chi, that came from Wei Nang, that came from Bodhidharma, that came from... So the influence of these great masters ripples down to us today. So I just want to say that he is our ancestor. We ended last week, somebody asked a question, in terms of the two verses. Well, isn't the verse of the abbot about, the mind is the mirror, dust alights on the mind, and the practice is to clean it. As opposed to Wei Nang's, there is no mirror, there is no mirror stand, there's no dust to clean, there's no dust, so what's there to clean? So this is looking at the same thing, but when you look at it from this side, from, we might say, the absolute, the emptiness of things, of reality, we see, like Wei Nang sees, we see this purity, this mind that uncontaminated, has no beginning, has no end, and has no characteristics. It is the true nature of mind. And so the realization of that is the realization of all Buddhas, and yet there's a lot of practice involved. We have to not take with a grain of salt, I don't mean that, but Wei Nang was exceptional. Right? No background, at least in his lifetime, no background in training, no background in taking teachings, right? Just heard a verse of the Diamond Sutra, instantly had an awakening experience, right? Had an interview, this first interview with the fifth patriarch in the middle of the night. The fifth patriarch just taught him, really actually just reciting lines from the Diamond Sutra, profound awakening. Right? It wasn't supported by meditation. Remember, he had never been in the meditation hall. No one had taught him how to meditate. So, an exceptional being, exceptional realization, but points to the essential truth and affirm the essential truth that we are all Buddhas. Probably one of the most hopeful, optimistic statements that one could hear. Right. So again, I'm just saying, not cautionary. We can be deeply moved and deeply inspired by the vision of reality. We can be very dedicated to awakening to it. But yet each of us are where we are. And so we have to honor that too. But you'll hear. So what I want to share today are his teachings. Right. So last time he began by sharing his life, letting everybody know about his life. And what we know is Wei Nang did not write. Well, he was illiterate. He did not write the Platform Sutra. It was basically compiled over the, he taught for many years, so many of his talks were compiled by his students, Fahui, the main one, but other ones. So it's really a compilation, right, of various talks, and also interactions that he had with students who asked him questions over the years, and was all put together as his Platform Sutra. So, I have come here today because I have a connection of many lifetimes with you officials, clerics, and lay people. So, this is the idea of many lifetimes, the idea that that any significant connection in this lifetime, positive and negative, has antecedents in the past, right? And he's just acknowledging that. But he's also doing something very interesting. He's creating relationship, right? Sort of saying, we all have the same... Oh, that just disappeared. Oh, okay. Okay. No, just a little thing just happened with the internet here for those online, but it's all good. So he's creating he's creating an intimacy, a connection. Right away he's saying, the reason you're all here, showed up here, because we have a connection. Right? We have a karmic connection with each other. And whether you believe that or not, that's up to you, but it certainly heightens one's the significance one's giving to this interaction. It's not like I just wandered into a lecture. I just wandered into a meditation hall. There's a reason I'm here, and there's a reason I'm here to listen to this teacher. We have a connection. The teaching has been passed down by the ancients. It isn't something I discovered by myself. Again, he's letting them know, this is not my teaching. This is not Wei Nang's teaching. This is not, I'm not doing anything new. I am just affirming the teachings and the realization of all the Buddhist teachers, going back to the Buddha before me. Right? So he's putting himself squarely in that tradition. And then he says, sort of like what he did before he began his last talk, he said, friends, please listen with a pure mind. Right? Now, interestingly, he's already been telling us that our mind nature is already pure. So we don't have to make our mind pure. We have to let go of all the impurities. The purity is always here. All right, so what does that mean? That means let go, just in general, let go of thoughts from the past, let go of thoughts about the future, let go of any thoughts about now, any dramas, let go of everything, don't hold on to anything, and just be present and aware. Another way to say it, just be 100% here. So why don't we all take a few minutes to just make sure we are 100% here. Mind open, relaxed, aware, receptive. Not holding on to anything. We want to purify our mind of our endless involvement in conceptuality. Why? So our natural wisdom can come forth. So we can listen to the wisdom of the sixth patriarch with our own wisdom mind. Which again is already here. Wei Nang then yelled out. Interesting. He yelled. Now, why did he yell? Get people's attention. This is what he yells. I won't yell too loud because we have a microphone. He didn't have a microphone. He had to yell. Good friends, you already possess the prajna wisdom of enlightenment. But because your minds are deluded, you can't understand by yourselves. You need to find a truly good friend to show you the way to see your nature. Good friends, Buddha nature isn't for the ignorant and the wise. It's just that people are deluded or awake. When people are deluded, they're ignorant. When they wake up, they become wise. First point, we already have this awakened Buddha mind. We don't have to create it. We don't have to get it. We don't have to manufacture it. We don't have to fabricate it. It is already intrinsic to our minds. But because we're deluded, because our minds are topsy-turvy, because we can't see clearly, we can't see what's right in front of us. Like a blind person. We can't see. You need to find a truly good friend to show you the way to see your nature. So you might say, well, that's the most bizarre thing. If it's already my nature and it's already here, why do I need somebody to point it out to me? Well, I think everybody can answer that for themselves. How can we find what we don't see? How can we become aware of something that we really are not aware of? Why aren't we aware of it? Because we're deluded. What are we deluded by? Our thoughts. Right? And what are our thoughts endlessly about? The world, and things, and people, and events, and coming and going, and winning and looting, and gazing and needing and desiring, right? Our minds are so busy, consumed by the world, consumed by worldly thoughts. Right? We don't have this capacity to see our true nature. But fortunately, since the time of the Buddha, right up to our present time, we have teachers who appear, who can help us, who can point out to us the nature of our minds, can give us a process where we can realize it and live in it. So he's saying, please find yourself, he calls a teacher a good friend. And again, he says this Buddha nature is not like he. You know, it doesn't, the ignorance or the wise, it's not about worldly kind of, that kind of worldly mind. It's in Buddhism, when you know your true nature, when you're awakened to your true nature, you are participating in your own Buddha mind. You're wise. Not because you've learned so much and you've studied so much or you're very eloquent, but your wisdom is the wisdom of knowing how things really are. When you don't have that wisdom, you're ignorant of who you are. So ignorant is not like a judgment, like, stupid or dumb or not like ignorant person. It's not like that at all. It's either you're ignorant of your true nature or you're awake to your true nature. If you're awake to your true nature, if you know how things really are, you're wise. If you're not, you're deluded. So he calls his practice one practice samadhi. Okay? How many practices are there in Buddhism? Thousands. Right? How many practices were being practiced at that monastery? Many, many, many. Sitting meditation, concentration, all different kinds of practices to concentrate. Chanting, studying, reciting mantras, visualizations, all kinds of practices, right? He calls his practice one practice samadhi. Samadhi has various meanings, but it really implies when you're in samadhi, you are all subject and objectivity, all dualism has disappeared, and there's only total presence with whatever, we might say, whatever you're doing. There's no doer, right? There's just total presence. So he calls it one practice. That's the one practice. And samadhi describes this state. And he'll talk about it. Well, he talks about it right now, forgive me. One practice samadhi means at all times, whether walking, standing, sitting, or lying down, always practice with a straightforward mind. Very interesting. I like that. Straightforward mind. And then he quotes the Vimalakirti that says, a straightforward mind is the place of enlightenment. Or, a straightforward mind is the pure land. Don't practice hypocrisy with your mind while you talk about being straightforward with your mouth. If you speak about one practice samadhi with your mouth, but you don't practice it with a straightforward mind, you're no disciple of the Buddha. Simply practice with a straightforward mind and don't become attached to any dharma. This is meant by one practice samadhi. So here he's really stating his practice. What's his practice? Cultivate the straightforward mind. So what do you think a straightforward mind is? Just based on the words straightforward. What is a straightforward mind? What do you think?
It's looking straight ahead.
Straight ahead. Sincere. Single. Focused. Integrity. Integrity, a straightforward mind. There's no wobbling. Right? He says, what he said about, the mouth. It's really, in our modern parlance, it means, if you're not walking the walk, don't talk the talk. Right? That's what he's saying. If you're not really walking the walk, don't talk about it. Only talk about it if you're really doing it. Right? Don't talk about the practice. Don't talk about the realization. Don't talk about the the one practice samadhi if you don't have a straightforward mind, which you're sincere, you're clear, you're focused. You don't wobble. In Zen, we don't wobble. Wobbling, a little bit, wobble. This way, many people, our practice, we wobble. We don't take strong, firm, clear steps, always going in the direction that we say we want to go. That's what he says. Just be straightforward. That's your practice. When do you practice it? When you're walking, when you're sitting, when you're lying down, right? When you're standing up. Anybody ever hear that before? Classic Zen. Classic Thich Nhat Hanh, right? Don't wobble. Always be present. Always be aware. Always be totally involved with whatever you're doing. Don't wobble. That's his practice. Right? So it's not a practice that you only do when you're sitting on your cushion. It's not a practice you only do when you're in the meditation hall. It's a practice you do at work. It's a practice you do at home. It's a practice you do wherever you are. Right? No hypocrisy. Right? No hypocrisy. Wherever you are, whatever's going on, whatever the situation is, you always meet it with a straightforward mind. So it's really wonderful. Have a straightforward mind. You know? He doesn't say it how it has to be. Each of us has to develop our own straightforward mind. Whatever it is, whatever our aspiration is, whatever, walk it. Just walk it. Don't talk it, walk it. That's my spin on it. Deluded people who cling to the external attributes of a dharma get hold of one practice samadhi and just say that sitting motionless, eliminating delusions, and not thinking thoughts are one practice samadhi. What do you think? Sounds pretty good? Yeah. Over here you're going, yeah, that sounds pretty good. If I could sit motionless, eliminate all my delusions, and not think anything, yeah, I'll settle for that, right? But he says, if that were true, a dharma like that would be the same as lifelessness and would actually constitute an obstruction of the way instead. So this is very powerful. This really puts the uniqueness of his teaching, right? And he's really talking about a whole kind of practitioner, could be like many of us, that take as the goal of practice to stop the outflow, stop the delusive thoughts, calm, stabilize the mind. Right? Pure. We fabricate this meditative state, right? And when we experience this deep calmness, this quiet, right, this deep stability, we think, oh, this is it. I'm practicing the one practice, samadhi. And he says, no, this is not it. This is very important. The way has to flow freely. Why block it up? The way flows freely when the mind doesn't dwell on any dharma. Once it dwells on anything, including any kind of fabricated meditative state, it becomes bound. If sitting motionless was right, Vimalakirti wouldn't have criticized Shariputra for meditating in the forest. Those of you who attended my past talks on the Vimalakirti Sutra, we know there are those encounters that Vimalakirti has with all the great teachers, and when he, and there's Shariputra meditating very deeply in the forest, great disciple of the Buddha, right? Vimalakirti goes, who are you kidding? That's not practice. Right? So what is he saying? It is the nature of awareness that it always just flows. Right? All of us, from our birth, our mind awareness has just been flowing seamlessly, in perfect, not continuity, what can I say? There's no interruption. The mind just flows. Every moment is fresh. Every moment, things appear and disappear in this mind endlessly. That's all that goes on our whole life. That's all that goes on every day. That's all that goes on every hour. Just this endless flow of awareness. Right? Now, why don't we experience it that way? Because he said we block the flow of it. How do we block the flow of it? We attach to thoughts. We attach to the phenomena we see. We attach, we're endlessly attaching. So we don't experience the flow. So he's saying, another way he's saying is, be Be totally natural. Just let your mind be natural. Let it flow. But don't let it attach to anything. Right? As soon as you attach, you interrupt the flow. Just let it flow. Things arise, things disappear. Thoughts, feelings, perceptions, they arise and disappear. If you don't grasp, you don't hold on, just let it flow. Why block it up? The way the mind flows freely when it doesn't dwell on any dharma. Good friends, I know there are people who tell others to devote themselves to sitting meditation and contemplating their minds, or contemplating purity, or not to move, or not to think. Deluded people are unaware, so they turn things upside down with their attachments. There are hundreds of people who teach the way like this, but they are, you should know, greatly mistaken. So he's teaching a different dharma than was taught at his time. He's saying, yeah, that's the way most teachers teach. But that's not the way. His way is very simple. There's no fabrication at all. There's no controlling the mind. Why is the mind doesn't need to be controlled? Because the essence of mind is Buddha mind, is awakened mind. Let it just flow. Who gets in the way of the flow? We do. Each of us do. How do we do it? Because we're endlessly grabbing onto our thoughts. Right? If you sit in meditation, we've all sat in meditation, and if you watch your mind, what do you notice about thoughts? What do you notice? Anybody ever watch their mind? What do you notice? From morning to, if you just sit in meditation all day, what do you notice? Yeah, they come and they go. They come and they go. Right? That's their nature. Is there a problem with their coming and going? No. Unless you what? Attach, avert, grab on, push away, like, dislike. Or as they say in Dzogchen, chain. You start chaining. One thought reminds you of another thought. So you know how you make a chain, not a rope, a chain, a chain made of links. That's right. Okay, so one link, we chain, right? One link, and all of a sudden, you're choking. Yeah, just let every link arise and disappear. Whatever it is, good thought, bad thought, wanted, unwanted, holy, unholy. Yeah, just let them come and go. That's what he's saying. Don't hold on to anything. Good friends, what are meditation and wisdom like? They're like a light, a lamp and its light. So he's giving, I think, an analogy that can help us understand. So, the light that illuminates is our natural mind. Right? It is like, but the lamp is that, like our bodies, like our body and conscious mind, that's like the lamp that the light manifests through and shines through. But in truth, the light and the lamp, can you distinguish the two of them? If you hold up the lamp and the light's pouring out of it, they're not separate. Right? It's like, another way to say it, it's like the sun and the sun's rays. Right? The sun is this, gaseous kind of thing, right? And then from that gaseous thing, light emanates, throughout the solar system. But can you separate the light or the rays of the sun from the sun? You would say what? No. Right? So our Buddha mind and its manifestation in thoughts, in everything, right? Thoughts, feelings, perceptions, all these things, these are just the manifestations, right, of the light. And this body-mind is the lamp through which they shine. Right? In other words, where do our thoughts come from? Well, that's a meditation. Where do our thoughts come from? Where do they emanate from? They emanate from our Buddha mind. Right? So when you know that, thoughts are no longer the enemy. They don't need to be controlled. They don't need to be stopped. The purpose of meditation is no longer to stop and to calm and to quiet and to stabilize. The purpose of meditation at this level is to know the nature of mind. To know who you are. That's all. And once you know who you are, you just live in that knowing. Whatever happens. Whatever's going on. Right? The lamp is the light's body, and the light is the lamp's function. They have two names, but not two bodies. Good. Then he goes into the thing of direct, indirect. So this is interesting. Listen closely. Good friends, since ancient times, this Dharma teaching of ours, both in its direct and indirect versions, direct, indirect, sudden awakening, gradual awakening, there's different terms. But he's saying they're just different versions. So he's not really saying one is better than the other. They're just different versions of the Dharma teaching. Good since ancient times, the Dharma teaching of ours has proclaimed no thought as its doctrine, no form as its body, and no attachment as its foundation. So this is, we hear these things, no thought. Oh, that means you can't have a thought. Listen to what he says. So first he says, what do we mean by a form? A form is like anything that has any shape, any characteristics is a form. Right? Like physical things have forms. There are physical forms. There are mental forms. Right? What do we mean by a form that is no form? To be free of form in the presence of forms. That's what it means to be in form as no form. To be free of form in the presence of forms. What does that mean? So we live in the world of forms, right? All day long we see objects. We see people, we see things, we watch the news, we exist in the world of forms, food, everything forms, mental forms, thoughts, feelings, let's just take physical forms. So he says to live in the presence of form and not to hold on to any form, not to be attached to any form, not to push away, is to live in the world of no form. Because no longer are the forms obstacles to us. They're no forms. That's why we can say a form is a no form. It sounds a little crazy, but that's what it means. It's not an obstacle. They're just things that appear, forms that appear. To the eyes, to the ears, sounds, sights. no thought, not to think about thoughts. Right? He didn't say you can't have thoughts, but you don't think about thoughts. We spend all day doing what? We think about our thoughts. Right? A thought pops up, and then what do? We think about it. We take a thought and we turn it into a story. We take a story, we turn it into a problem. We turn a problem, we turn it into something that we got to solve. It's like, right? Just gets more and more elaborate. The practice of no thought is not to have thoughts or to stop thoughts. It's not to engage in thoughts. Let them come and go. Let forms come and go. Let the world appear any way it wants. Right? A couple of days ago we had beautiful, 70, 80 degree weather. Tonight it's cold. That's the world of form. Just so what? Right? That's why, the Zen master says, what's the highest truth of Zen? And he says, in winter I freeze. In summer I sweat. And you might go, hold on, that's the highest truth of Zen? That's a Zen master? Right? But that's what he's saying. It's so simple. When you're not attached to the world of form, you are at one with whatever is arising. Right? When it's cold, you put on a sweater. When it's hot, you take it off. Effortless. What's there to think about? Right? When you're cold, do you know you're cold? You don't have to think about it, do you? When you're cold, you know you're cold. Put on a sweater. When you're hot, do you know you're hot? So what's there to think about? Take off the sweater. Be at ease. Be natural. That's why in Zen, spontaneity, naturalness is always prized. Always prized. Yeah. Whether it's a past thought, a present thought, or a future thought, let one thought follow another without interruption. Once a thought is interrupted, the Dharma body, that's our true body, our body of empty awareness, becomes separated from the material body. So he says, it's when we interrupt this. In other words, if you watch your mind, do you consciously put every thought into your mind that's there? Is that the way it works? Yeah. What actually happens? Thoughts arise on their own. Right? They just arise on their own. He's saying, just let that happen. Don't interrupt it. Don't try to stop it. Don't grab onto it. Don't embroider it. Don't do anything with it. Just let it flow. And what are you doing while this flow is happening? You're living your life. You're eating your breakfast. You're working. You're raking. That's what you're doing. And the thoughts will, let them come and go. Let the feelings come and go. Don't grab onto anything. Don't push anything away. Don't have, so many ways of saying it. You don't have an agenda. Most of us live with agendas. Right? We want it this way, we don't want it that way. We want people to think this about us, we don't want people to think that about us. We want the world to be like this, we don't want the world to be like that. Endless agendas. But the world is what it is, isn't it? That's what he's saying. Once a thought is interrupted, which means that flow of thought is interrupted, the Dharma body becomes separated. So when you go from one thought to another, don't become attached to it. Once one thought becomes attached, every thought becomes attached, which is what we call, in Buddhism, bondage. So the problem is not that we have thoughts, the problem is we are in bondage to our thoughts. Right? What does it mean to be in bondage? If somebody's in bondage, it means what? What? Not free. They're bound. Many of us are in bondage to our thoughts. Right? Whatever our thoughts are, whatever they tell us to do, whatever they tell us to feel, we do what? Whatever they tell us to want, to need, it's like endless. Our thoughts are endlessly telling us what to do, what to feel, what I need. I need this. I need that. I need people to be like this. I don't need people to be like that. Endlessly. And we're in bondage to that. Bondage means we're not free. So, our Dharma Wei Nang is trying to free us from bondage. It's not by killing thoughts, getting rid of thoughts, stopping thoughts, calming thoughts. It's the opposite. Just let them flow. Just let it be, Don't get involved. Right? Right? Watch the river. Watch the river. Sometimes it flows nice and smoothly. Sometimes there's a lot of rapids, a lot of turmoil. That's just the way it is. Endlessly changing. Right? Just let it be. Let people be. They're the same way. Endlessly changing. But when you go without one to another, without being attached, there's no bondage. This is why he says no attachment is the foundation, is our foundation of our practice. So he's saying, what is our practice? In the world of forms, right? We let the forms be. Right? In the realm of thought, we just let thoughts be. And whatever occurs, we practice non-attachment. Right? Non-attachment doesn't mean indifference. Non-attachment means I don't attach myself to anything. Right? Once I attach myself to something, it's going to pull me along with its own energy, isn't it? You see? But if I'm not attached, it can have its own energy, but it doesn't pull me. It doesn't push me. It's still there. It's flowing by, but I don't attach to it. I just let it be. I don't want to live in bondage. Right? Doesn't you see, his Chan, his Zen, is very much like the third patriarch, we chant verses on mind. Right? But then there's another verse, but live in bondage to your thoughts and Same teaching. So this is another, and again you'll see the variations and then we'll get into something new. In that case, so these are all, like this is 19, these are all different talks that he gave, or pieces of talks. And you notice, he doesn't teach Buddhism, does he? He doesn't teach Buddhist teachings or theories, does he? He's really just teaching just about his own, about the nature of mind and just how to live in this body-mind and how to live in the world of forms. I mean, that's what he's teaching. Why is he just teaching that? Because his teaching is we don't have to, according to him, we don't have to go through this endless gradual path to become a Buddha. We are already Buddhas. We already have that inherent wisdom within us. Right? We already have all the things we need within us. We just have to be able to manifest it. What stops us from manifesting it? We get lost in the world of forms, we get lost in the world of thought, and we're attaching to everything. So he's basically saying, if you stop doing that, then you'll have a straightforward mind, straightforward life. Everything will be clear, everything will be direct. You know what I say? Ask yourself, could it be this simple? Please stop a second and think in terms of your practice of Dharma. How complicated have you made it? How complicated have we made it? How complex have we made it? How many things do we think we need to do? How many things do we think we need to achieve before we can, lead an awakened life? I mean, he's saying something else, isn't he? The sixth patriarch, right? 8th century. What are we? We're in the 21st century? Is what he's saying as true today as it was then? In the school, to practice Zen means not to be obstructed by anything, and externally not to give rise to thoughts about objective states. And by Zen, we mean to see our nature without being confused. What do we mean by Zen meditation? Externally, to be free of form is Zen, and internally, not to be confused is meditation. Now, that's very interesting. We think meditation is what? Something we do. Right? We have our meditation practices. We have all the things we do in meditation, right? This one's concentrating on that one's concentrating on this, right? Watching this, stopping that, generating this type of thought, generating that type of thought. He's saying meditation simply is we're not confused about the nature of our mind, the nature of reality. That's meditation. He's saying meditation is simply to be aware of who and what you really are. That's what we're cultivating, this awareness. What prevents us from living in that awareness? We attach to thoughts. We attach to forms. We attach to phenomena. But if we stop doing that, and we just are present to our own experience of what's happening right now, what he's sharing with us we can all see that, because that's really what's happening. But that's, a lot in our meditation we talk about letting go and resting. What does that mean? Letting go and just resting. It means once you've let go, like he's saying, of all the chasing after thoughts, trying to stop thoughts, trying to create a certain kind of meditative mind state, once you let go of all that and you're just present and aware to whatever it is, you let things just be, and you rest there. Just in awareness, just awake, wakeful. Your nature itself is pure and focused. It is just that you come into contact with objects, and as you come into contact, you become confused. Confused about what? About what's going on. Because that object looks what? How does it look to you? Looks good. I want to get a piece of that. Right? Once we do that, we're lost. One thing will lead to another, and we'll go further and further away from ourselves. free of form, when you're not confused, you're focused. That's meditation. As the Bodhisattva Precept Sutra says, our original nature is pure. Good friends, see the fundamental purity of your own nature. That's the practice. How do we see the fundamental nature, the fundamental purity of our own nature? By looking directly through meditation into our mind nature. We look directly into our minds. And you'll see what he's talking about. This doesn't take great intelligence. This doesn't take great, intellectual understanding. You don't even need to know anything about Buddhism, because the nature of mind is the same for a Buddhist and a non-Buddhist. It's the nature of mind. All human minds are the same in that sense. They all are of the same nature. What is that nature? Empty of any solidity, empty of all characteristics, illuminated by knowing. This is the nature of mind. Your mind, my mind, everybody's mind. Children's minds, adults' minds, old people's minds. Doesn't matter what, whatever you think you are. It's the same mind. Just think what a world it would be if everybody knew their mind nature. Everybody knew who they really were. Didn't see themselves as the way their skin looks, or the way their body form looks, or where they were born, or what their belief systems were. What would it be like if everybody really saw their true nature? Just in this very simple way. No war. All gone. What's there to fight about? A very different world. Let me stop. Any questions before we get into the precepts? Remember, I said yesterday, this is the platform sutra, because like in these talks, he has his own formless precepts that we'll share. So any questions? If you're online, just unmute. Anybody in the hall, raise your hand. Any questions about anything that's being said? Yes, the gentleman over here to my left. And again, if you're online, there is a raise hand function. Just raise your hand and then Angie can spotlight you. Any questions about anything that's been said that doesn't make sense, or like, what is he talking about, or how does an ordinary person do this, or I don't know, whatever. Paul, yes.
That you just said my question. How does an ordinary person do this? Because it sounds great, of course, to me, what he's describing.
Yeah.
But even today, I had hours of experience
Of what?
of trying to be vigilant, not attaching to my thoughts. And I just endlessly attach to my thoughts.
Okay. And so what's your practice? Your practice is not attaching to thoughts. Is that what your practice is?
Yes.
Okay. So, if you attach to your thoughts 1,000 times today, and every time you attach to your thought, you noticed it, and you at that moment let go, you're practicing.
Well, I don't think I noticed it every time. No, I mean, not for a while.
Did you notice it at all?
I noticed it a lot.
Well, good.
Yeah.
That's practice.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you practice it? That's practice. Yeah, so you're not an awakened Buddha. You're not of the karmic development of a Wei Nang. Is there anybody here who is? Yeah, we're all. That's why we're here. But, we do our best. We practice. But what you're getting here is the basis of knowing why you're doing that. You see?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You realize I don't have to do all this work I don't have to make it happen. I don't have to find it. It's here. You know, it's like right here. Right? You already are the golden Buddha. Yeah, you just don't know it. Yeah, see, watch him. What's he going to do? He doesn't want to, Can't be this simple, right? Do you hear him? What's he saying in there, Paul? Can't be this simple. He's just going to create problems. Let go. Anything you're thinking about why you can't do this or why it's difficult is a thought.
Mm-hmm.
That you're holding on to, that you're grabbing onto, and adding other thoughts, and adding them to all the prior thoughts. And then you've got a whole formation. That's, by the way, this is just a question for people in the hall. Can anybody see Paul's thoughts? Just look at Paul. Can anybody see his thoughts? Anybody see his thoughts? Okay.
Thank you.
And if you look in your mind, you won't even see your thoughts.
They go quickly.
Wonderful. Let them be.
I would
That's
love
the
to.
practice.
Yeah.
But the teachings are pointing that out. See, the teachings point out the truth. So
Yes.
now Paul knows, oh, that's why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And then he looks into his own mind, because this is not a path of faith and blind belief. He goes, well, let me see if that's true. Yeah. Can I walk through the mall with all the forms and all the things and not attach to anything? Just be aware, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, not grabbing onto anything, not judging anything, not wanting anything. Practice. Go to the mall, practice. It's a good place to practice.
I can do them all.
Oh, yeah,
I
okay.
can't do my mind.
Well, what do you think's in the mall? What are you taking? Your whole experience in the mall is just an experience you're having in your mind.
Right, and I don't get attached to it.
Good. So what's your problem here?
It's something about thoughts. My thoughts.
Well, good question. What is it about your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, are they that wonderful?
Not at all.
Oh, I think you love them. Oh, I think you love your thoughts.
Based on my behavior, you would think I do.
Well, yeah, based on your. Well, what else are we going to base it on?
Nah, I guess not.
Yeah,
I
we
guess
love
so.
the privacy of our own mind. We think we're just incredible, don't we?
But
Come on, admit it. We just think we're.
Isn't it also like habit energy or endless lives doing the same thing?
Do you know what addiction is?
I think so.
What is addiction?
Not being able to stop something.
How do you become addicted? How do you become addicted?
You do something and you like it.
Or whatever. Yeah, you do it, and then you do it what?
Again and
Again.
Yeah.
And after a while, you're addicted.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So you came into this world, you didn't have any thoughts.
Mm-mm.
Right?
Mm-mm.
Right? Like, what language do you think in?
English.
Right, so, I mean, did you come into this world speaking English?
Nope.
No, you didn't have any words, you didn't have any language, but you had knowing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So do you know what they did with little Paul? They pointed, Mama, Dada.
Mm-hmm.
They gave you words,
Yep.
right? You already knew you had a relationship. You already knew it, but they gave you a word. And then they really gave you the big one. Paul.
Yeah.
That's Paul. That's Mama. That's separating.
Mm-hmm.
Separating. Yeah. And then Paul, that little boy, he saw something. A rattle that one of the other kids had. And inside he went, what? He liked that.
I like it. I want it.
He crawls over, right?
Mm-hmm.
Grabs the rattle. He wants, attaches. Over time, he becomes addicted to all this kind of behavior. That's all.
I've broken other addictions.
Of course. You can break, but you got to see, this is an addiction. That's all it is. We're addicted to our thoughts. We're addicted to people. We're addicted to things. We're addicted to the world. That's all. Yeah, you got to break the addiction. You know, somebody who's not addicted, let's say you're an alcoholic, and if you're no longer addicted, you can go into a bar, you can go to a cocktail party, and you can say, yeah, I'll have a club soda. I mean, it's like you're free. The forms, all the alcohol is there. You know, all the forms are there, the glasses are there, the ice is there, all these bottles are there. But you're free. You know, you don't have to hide, right? It's no big deal. It's like, yeah. Okay. But you don't have to, you can still, go to somebody's house and they can still offer you a glass of wine and you can say, no, thank you, I'll just have water. You're free of that. This is about being free of all forms. Right? Yeah, but first you got to get the practice, and then you practice it. But you know why you're practicing it. Mm-hmm. Our natural mind will come forth if we give it space, if we give it room, mm-hmm. if we become aware of it. But how can we become aware of it if we're just, lost in our thoughts all day? Right? So we got to create space. We got to create openness so mind can come forth, reveal itself. Okay?
I'm sold.
Good.
Thank you.
And there's no extra charge. Okay? Any other questions? Anybody online? No? Good. All right. Nobody in the hall? We're good? So now we're going to get into, so for those of you who are members here and know about, anyhow, there's a whole thing where he talks about you can practice at home, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So we know in Buddhism, we take refuge, right? We have the three refuges. Any good Buddhists in the hall who know what the three refuges are? First refuge is what? I take refuge in the Buddha. Second refuge is what? I take refuge in the Dharma. Third refuge is I take refuge in Sangha. So now, good friends? No, wrong page. He says, now I want to confer on you the formless precepts. So I take refuge in the Buddha, I take refuge in the Dharma, I take refuge in the Sangha. He's saying that's refuge in forms. These are the forms of Buddhism. The Buddha, in his form. The Dharma as the teaching. The Sangha as the, practitioners, the fourfold Sanghas. He's saying that's the form refuge. I'm now going to give you the formless refuge. He says, while I confer these on you now, you must all experience this for yourselves. So again, he's in line with the way he teaches. He doesn't want this to be a religious, I take refuge, like something external and I'm taking refuge in it. Right? He's saying you want to take the internal, the formless refuge, which you can experience within your own mind. So please, he says, recite this with me, and it will enable you to see the three-bodied Buddha within you. I take refuge in the pure Dharma body Buddha in my own body. I take refuge in the myriad-fold transformation body Buddha in my own material body. I take refuge in the future and perfect realization body Buddha in my own material body. So these are the three bodies of the Buddha. He says our material body, our physical body, is just an inn we're staying in temporarily, and it's not a fit refuge. But the three bodies that he just mentioned are your ever-present Dharma nature. Everyone has them. But because people are deluded, they don't see them. They look for the three-bodied of the Buddha bodies outside themselves. And they don't see that it's already here within their own material body. What does it mean by the pure, that you take refuge in the pure Dharma body Buddha? Dharmakaya, the Dharma body. He says, everyone's nature is fundamentally pure. And the 10,000 dharmas, which means everything, all your thoughts, all your feelings, everything you see, everything you hear, all the 10,000 things, right, are all present. Where do we experience them? We experience them in our mind and in our mind nature. If we think about doing something bad, we commit bad deeds. If we think about doing something good, we perform good deeds. Thus, we all know that the nature of good and bad are just present in our own nature. But our own nature by itself is pure. Now, what does he mean by that? It's like what? It's like clay, right? Clay is just clay. You can make something beautiful with it. You can make something ugly in it, right? But the clay nature of the beautiful thing and the ugly thing are exactly the same. Is that true? Right? Or they say it's like water and ice, right? You can take water, fluid, ever-flowing, right? And you can ice it, turn it into ice, and you can turn it into all forms. Beautiful forms, ugly forms, big, little, anything. But the nature of all those forms is what? Ice. The nature of ice is water. It's the same for every one of those ice forms. Right? Every ceramic, clay, statue has the same nature, the nature of clay. And then you could, talk about what clay is. But do you understand? It all has the same nature. It manifests in good, bad, ugly, beautiful, all those things. But its nature, it's the same. Right? We want to realize that our own nature, our own mind nature, has this essential purity. We can take it and we can turn it into something beautiful, or we can turn it into something ugly. We can cultivate altruistic, beautiful mind states, or we can cultivate selfishness, self-centeredness, anger, hatred, right? But all of that is being created in the mind. What is the nature of mind? Empty awareness, pure mind. So he says, when you take refuge in your pure mind, that's your true Dharma body. That's taking refuge in the Buddha. You take refuge in your Buddha mind. Because as soon as you take refuge in your Buddha mind, you have purified the ignorance into thinking that things are good or bad. Good or bad is only relative to each other. But the true nature of good and bad, which is just thoughts, mind, is the same. Is it getting late? Am I losing people? We're okay? Yeah? Good. So before a thought arises, if we just experience our mind for a moment free of thought, what is that like? Just close your eyes, and just see if you can become aware of the space, the empty space, in between thoughts. After a thought has passed, before the next one arises, can you just experience just the nature of your mind in that space? And then a thought can arise, you just let it arise, disappears, and then you experience again the empty nature of mind in that space, in between thoughts. Empty space, mind nature, thought arises, disappears, empty nature. Thought arises, disappears, empty nature. Of course, in the practice, you learn to extend and extend, become more familiar with that empty nature. So this empty nature of mind, in which thoughts arise and disappear into, is always the same. But the thoughts that arise can be endlessly different. Is that true? Where do I go for refuge? What do I trust? Do I trust the endless arising of thoughts, always different, always changing, good, bad, high, low? Or do I trust my true nature? This empty awareness that's always here. Always here. It's a source of well-being, it's a source of ease, there's no drama in it at all. It is the nature of mind. Why don't I rest here? But what do we do when thoughts arise? Anybody want to fess up? What do we do when thoughts arise? We stay in touch with our empty spaces, mind, nature. What do we do, Brian? Yeah, right. And when you stay aware, let thoughts go, how's your mind? At ease, he says. And when you follow the thoughts, how's your mind? Not at ease. Oh. So if you're going to go for refuge in your mind, you're going to go to refuge to your thoughts, or you're going to go to refuge to your true mind? That's what he's saying. So he's saying this is the true refuge. Because it's always pure. And it's the source of everything. So why should I take refuge in things that are endlessly changing, that have no stability? So he's saying, yeah, I take refuge, not in some external Buddha, I take refuge in my own mind. Dharma, I take refuge in my own wisdom. The mind that knows itself. Right? And I take refuge in the inner Sangha, which is the manifestation in life of this innate wisdom. How does it show up in life? In goodness. No drama. Peace, calm, stable, clear-headed, straightforward. Yeah. So this is the inner refuge. He's showing us this is what Buddha, Dharma, Sangha really mean as an experience. And then next he a little explanation. And then the next thing he has them do is take the 4 vows, the 4 boundless vows. I vow to save all beings, no matter how numberless. I vow to end all afflictions, no matter how countless. I vow to master all teachings, no matter how limitless. I vow to attain Buddhahood, no matter how transcendent. There are many different variations. This is an old translation. This is very important, you see. So you take refuge in your mind nature. You take refuge in your true nature, right? But then how do I show up in the world? What do I do? So if I'm not following thoughts, if I'm not following things, if I'm not following forms, if I'm not following desires and needs and likes and dislikes, right? So what am I doing? The 4 vows. This is what we're doing. What are we doing? What are we doing with this life? What are we doing with this mind? We're working to end all our afflictions. Right? I vow to master all the teachings, no matter how limitless. I vow to save, liberate, help all beings, and I vow to become a Buddha. What do you think? You think that'll keep you? You think that'll keep you occupied, John? Yeah. I mean, so it's interesting, it's like, because you can take the formless refuge and just kind of stay home. Right? Pretty good. Just going to stay home. Rest in the formless nature of things. But there's something more going on, right? That's why Shakyamuni left Bodh Gaya and went to Sarnath to teach. For those of you who listened to our pilgrims last night, right? Yeah. Why didn't he just stay in the bliss of his awakening, resting in his true nature, right? After his great enlightenment. Why did he start teaching? Why did he spend 50 years teaching everybody and anybody the Dharma? Because of this great vow to become a Buddha and then to work to liberate all beings. So this great vow, once we decondition ourselves from all the karmic historical energy that is just pushing us this way and that way, many of us, we are just a creation of our past. There's no freedom. We're just living out, we're living out the stuff that we've been conditioned to. But once we liberate ourselves from that, and we have freedom to choose our way in life, well, then what's a meaningful life? 4 vows. Yeah. Why should I just work for my own benefit? So many people suffering. Why don't I work for the benefit of all? Right? Like that. Yeah, so then he leads everybody in reciting these, he calls them the 4 boundless vows. Everybody has within themselves and their true nature all the right views that they need. That's why the main thing is to realize this essential, uncontaminated, pure, undefiled nature. That is the nature of our minds that we all possess. That experience in itself will purify our karma from the past. Because we'll see that I've identified with something that's not real, which is all this delusion. I was about to say garbage. That's not very respectful, is it? Garbage is what? If you think about it, what is garbage? Waste, right? You know what I mean? I mean, like, before it was garbage, it was what? Useful, right? You know what I mean? It was the packaging, it was the envelope, it was the food, it was the stems, it was the coverings, right? Right? So when it's no longer useful, we get rid of it. It's garbage. How many of us carry in our minds all this garbage that has no use anymore? Maybe at some point in our life it was useful, but now it has no use, right? It's garbage. And yet we what? Tell the truth. What do? We store it. At least it's my garbage. Right? I mean, isn't that kind of crazy? Why do we take the garbage out every day? Or every few days? Why do we take the garbage out? Why does the city of Tampa come by twice a week and pick up our garbage? What?
It smells pretty bad if it didn't.
It rots. Right? It stinks. And it attracts vermin. Yeah. So we ask ourselves, how much garbage am I storing within my own mind? Do I hold on to? For what purpose? It's like that. Yeah, 4 great vows. Wonderful. Yep. And then he takes the 4 vows. Oh, then he has the 4. Oh, we got to stop. The formless repentance. Anyhow. Thank you, everyone. I hope this has been beneficial. I think I'll stop here with the 6 Patriarch Platform Sutra. You're welcome to study it on your own. And next week, I'll pick from either one of the sutra or a couple of sutras. Okay, give a little different flavor. But the beautiful thing about his teaching, very simple, very direct, very personal. And again, his story has, his teachings have power because of the story, right? Illiterate, layman, right? And yet, from knowing his own mind, fearless, right? Fearless, confident, right? And his confidence didn't become because of his great accomplishments in life. His confidence came because he knew his own truth. He knew the truth of who he was. It's a different kind of confidence. It's the kind of confidence that we all want. What's the manifestation of this confident mind? Straightforward mind. No wobbling. Good night, everyone. Thank you. Let me just share the merit. Whatever merit has come to us from our practice and study, listening to the Dharma this evening, may it be shared with everyone we encounter, whether near or far away, and may its effects ripple continuously to aid in the healing and the transformation of the world. So thank you, everyone. And again, next week we'll have 2 more, but we'll pick different sutras. Okay? Thank you, everyone. Have a good rest of your evening. Thank you for being here tonight.